Oh my god, okay. I think I got everything working. I say that like every time I'm about to fire up, ain't I? Good god. I think we should just. Oh! Hang on. I don't know why it does this, but I don't like it. I don't want things to break, bro. It sucks when it breaks. Alright. Well. I think that's as good as it's gonna get. Okay. I don't know why it decided to break, but it did. But hello everybody. How y'all doing? This is Mike coming at you live again. I need to explain myself and tell a bit of a story about why I'm late tonight. And it all starts with me wanting to paint my gunpla. And it's tragic because I was painting my gunpla, and what ended up happening is my beloved little fuzzy child decided it would be funny to hop up on my desk right when I was attempting to paint and try to knock my primer off the table. Unfortunately for your boy, the primer is black. The primer is in a bottle, and she decided to bap it off the table. And in the span of like 30 seconds, I caught the bottle upside down and it sprayed all over my hands. So now I had to go wash myself very thoroughly and get the primer off of my hands. Thankfully, my fuzzy daughter didn't get any primer on her, because that's very toxic to cats, I would imagine. But also, there was just primer everywhere. It kind of sucked. I was like... But anyway, needless to say, now I'm just waiting for my models to cure and prime so I can put another coat on them. Yeah. So, that's why your boy's late. He had to wash very thoroughly and try to make sure that he didn't get any primer on the cat, and make sure that there was no primer on the desk, and that there is no primer on my hands. Ugh, I still have some primer on my hands that I couldn't get off with a good wash, but you know what? When you paint models, you get messy, so too bad for me. Anyway, you might have read the title of this particular stream and were like, bro, what the hell are you talking about? What do you mean you're being judgmental right now? Well, it means I'm going to try doing a tier list. I'm going to try doing tier list. Is it bottom of the barrel? Yeah, maybe. But also, I can't exactly play video games on my PS5 right now because my controller broke. Actually, that's another story I could tell, because that's kind of freaking ridiculous how this happened. I was doing maintenance on my controller, and I think I manhandled the board on the inside a little too hard because one of the wires broke off. It's a little blue wire, and I don't have a soldering kit right now, so I can't fix it. Not that I'd really want to be perfectly honest with you, but yeah, I long story short, I need to buy a new PS5 controller because I done broke mine because I fat fingered my controller trying to fix it. You can tell today's going awesome for me. But yeah, so I decided that I would be opinionated tonight. This ain't gonna be a particular... Well, it kind of depends on how long it takes for me to get through, like, the 2 tier lists that I found, and maybe I'll do an extra one if I feel like it. Because why not? But yeah. I'm gonna make tier lists tonight, just because I think it'd be fun and funny, and maybe I get to just blurt my opinions out to the internet. So without further ado, let me pull up one of the ones that I got. I'm using Tier List Maker for this, and I'm modifying them a little bit, just because, to be perfectly honest with you, the reason... Oh, come on. Hello. Oh, there it is. There it is. There's our boy. I'm going to try and keep it about as big as I can, because some of these entries, for some reason, are like a post for ants. So, yeah. I'm going to be ranking Soulsborne bosses first. And then I'm going to be doing Gundam main series, because I feel like it. Because why not? I'm going to change a few things around, though, because I don't really think any of this adequately describes what I would think about these things. So, I'm going to edit this one. I just sort of searched them. First one I found, more or less. So, I do believe at the very top, it's going to be Amazeballs. There we go. Nah, I'm not going to call it Amazeballs. We're going to call it... You know, I'm just going to call it what it is, and we're going to call it Incredible. If something's incredible, that means it's the best boss I've ever fought in a Soulsborne game. Then we're going to go with Ite, because why not? And then we're going to go with Mid, because sometimes bosses are just mid, and they kind of don't really do it for me. Then we're going to go Bad. Pretty self-explanatory. And I'm going to add one below Bad that I'm going to call Dog Shit. Pretty self-explanatory. Again, I'm going to delete a couple of rows because I don't really think I need that many. And the last one under Dog Shit is, this is not a boss. So if I feel like something is just too stupid to qualify as a boss, I'm going to put it in that category just because it's like, yo, what we're looking at here ain't a boss. It's just it's either like a basic enemy that has like a health bar for some ungodly reason. You know what? I'll just go in depth in my explanations as I go. But here the tier list. There's a lot, so we're just gonna go through them, and I'm gonna go one at a time. Starting with, okay, that says man-eaters. Since I've played every Soulsborne game, I'm just gonna give you, honest to God, my 110% on this. Man-eaters are mid. I didn't really think much of them. They weren't that hard, and even on like my first ever playthrough of Demon's Souls, way back in the day, I just didn't think it was that bad. They were kind of dumb, and yeah, I kind of set the precedent for like, yep, this is a gimmicky fight that's kind of okay, but eh. And then we got the Old Hero. What do I think of the Old Hero? I think he's kind of mid, too. I don't really remember the fight that much. He's got an interesting gimmick where he's blind, and he can only really detect you if you hit him or anything like that. But other than that, he's alright. He's mid. Let's see. Then, what is this? Okay, that says Leechmonger. Sorry, the text on this is really low, or small, or even for me, so Leechmonger. He's not bad. He's mid. I don't really remember much about Leechmonger other than use fire. And he's kind of... He's aight. Let's see, the Dragon God. I'm not gonna lie. This is not a boss. It's a cutscene. Like, I honestly believe that if they were going to turn this thing into a boss, they shouldn't have done, like, a stupid gimmick for it, which is you have to activate 2 ballistas to pin him to the floor, and then you smack his chin to death. Which is lame. It's lame. Kind of gets away with it, though, because, you know, he was kind of like... Demon's Souls was their first attempt at trying to do stuff like this, so... It really says a lot about how far they've come since then, but all the same, Dragon God is not a boss to me, it's a gimmick. Let's see. Old Monk. Dog shit. PvP in Demon's Souls was bad. It should feel bad. And Old Monk is just PvP. which was bad. So Old Monk goes into the dog shit pile. Storm King. I don't like Storm King. I don't like gimmick fights very much, especially if I have to like rely on a weapon. That's kind of. It was the first attempt at doing the Storm Ruler fight, but I don't like the idea that I have to change everything about my usual fighting method just to accommodate a boss. You can call that a skill issue if you like. I don't like it. So, Storm King is bad. Garl, Vinland, and Maiden Estrella. This is not a boss. Once again, it's a gimmick. It's just an AI player model. And then Estrella just talks at you after you kill him. And don't get me wrong, it's very emotional. It's very sad. But unfortunately, sad doesn't quite cut it for me. He can go. Those two can go into this is not a boss territory. Is that the Penetrator? Yeah, that's the Penetrator. Okay. Before I talk a whole lot about Penetrator as a boss, all I'm going to say is this. Bluepoint had, in the remake, the opportunity to call this guy Metas the King's Sword, because that's what he is. Instead, they kept his, like, innuendo-y name of the Penetrator. I don't know why they did that, but you know what? I guess it's whatever. As a boss, I think he's aight. I like him. It's a one-on-one duel against a knight. And, you know, he's decently challenging. I like him. Same with Allant. Or False King Allant. He's a little bit worse than Penetrator in my opinion, but I like him. And I think his gimmick of him draining levels from you is actually a funny gimmick, so I'm not terribly offended by him. In fact, I quite like him. But he doesn't get into... Neither of these get into the Incredible territory, and spoiler alert, almost none of the Demon Souls bosses will get to Incredible. True King... Oh, is that True King Allant? Yeah, that's True King Allant. Okay. True King Allant is not a boss. He is a slug man that you beat into the floor and you feel bad about it. Yeah, I don't consider him a boss, even though he's got a boss's health bar. He's kind of pathetic. Let's see, Vanguard Demon. Yeah, he's mid. Wait, he's mid. I don't have much to say about him. He's the boss you're supposed to kill. Who's supposed to kill you in the tutorial, and I mean, when you encounter him later in the level, in like the levels, and like, yeah, he's not very intimidating, and I mean, if you play well enough in the intro, you can just kill him. He's fine. Phalanx. He's not bad. I mean, I don't want to put him in mid because he's kind of like the first official boss that you're meant to beat in Demon Souls. He's not terrible, but he's also not interesting. Because you fight the blob dudes all over the level. And then you pick up pretty quick that they're weak to fire, so yeah, he's very top of bad, but bordering on mid. Okay. The Tower Knight. Oh, what are my thoughts on the Tower? You know what? Tower Knight is actually not a bad fight if you know the... He's not a bad fight, actually, at all, even if he is kind of gimmicky. You know what? He's aight. I don't mind Tower Knight. He's pretty fun. You just kill the archers first, smack his cankles, and then you run away. Armor Spider. Nah, I don't really like him that much. He's gimmicky as hell, and I don't really like the fact that he could slow you down. especially since I tend to play really aggressively in these games, so I'm not a fan. Not a fan of the Armor Spider. He's kind of lame. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see. False Idol. She's mid. I mean, I hate that I'm putting a lot of these in mid, but she is. Like, she frustrated me the first time because I didn't know you had to kill her simp on the upper levels of the church that you fight her in. And her boss room is being guarded by a Black Phantom, so there's a bunch of little annoyances, but she herself is not bad, nor is she that annoying, so I feel comfortable calling her mid. Adjudicator. The Adjudicator's a funny little guy. You just have to know his weaknesses, and that being the blade sticking out of his fat folds. Or the bird that's perched on top of his head for whatever reason. So, you know, he's a funny little guy, but he's not that great. He's very mid. Dirty Colossus. Dirty Colossus is aight. That wasn't a terrible fight, and I do like the fact that you have to manage bees and break stuff off of him from time to time. Not a terrible fight, I must say. Alright. Now I think we're getting into... Oh no, we still have one more Demon Souls boss left. That looked like the... I'm not gonna lie, that looked like the Taurus Demon for a second, but that is in fact Flame Lurker, and I'm just gonna say it right now. Flame Lurker is awesome. That's a fun fight. I'd actually put him over Metas over there. But Flame Lurker is aggressive. Flame Lurker will punch the crap out of you. Flame Lurker likes to blow up the arena. And you know what? I love him for it. He's at the very top of aight. I like him. I like him a lot. So yeah, so far this is all for Demon Souls. And to recap for people that are joining in, and I don't know if they are or not, but we got Flame Lurker, we got Penetrator, Allant, Tower Knight, and aight. Then we got Man-Eaters, Old Hero, Leechmonger, Dirty Colossus. Actually, I want to put Dirty Colossus just a bit higher. Yeah, Dirty Colossus is like right at the top of mid for me, I think, in terms of Demon Souls bosses. And then you got the Vet. Okay, so we'll start over on mid. We got Dirty Colossus, we got Man-Eaters, we got Old Hero, Leechmonger, Vanguard, False Idol, and we got the Adjudicator. Bad bosses. Phalanx is... I'll move him to mid. I don't feel good putting him in bad. Because he's not actually bad, he's just easy. And I shouldn't equate easy with bad. But yeah, Phalanx is... I'm moving up to mid, actually. Storm King, don't like him because he's gimmick fight. Armor Spider, don't like him because he slows you down and is kind of gimmicky. And in the dog shit tier is Old Monk, because it's just PvP and I don't like Demon Souls PvP. My opinions on PvP will change as the franchise goes on, but in Demon Souls it's not good. It was never good. It is fun to troll people though. Okay. And then there's Dragon God. Dragon God is dog shit because it's a gimmick fight. It's not even really a boss. It's bad. And then in the this is not a boss territory is Garl Vinland and Maiden Estrella. I know they give an Archdemon soul. I do not care. You're fighting a player model, therefore he's not really a boss. And then you have King Allant, who's pathetic. So I don't even qualify him as a boss, even though he has a health bar. Like a named health bar. Okay, now I think with that out of the way, we're moving into the Dark Souls 1 bosses, if the image is down there or anything to go by. And the first one we have is Crossbreed Priscilla. Now, I'm gonna just put this out there. Priscilla as a waifu? Yes. I like. I like a lot. I like it a lot. As a boss fight, she's mid. Main reason why is Priscilla doesn't really do anything that's terribly difficult. She turns invisible, but you can track where her footprints are, and you can cut her tail off, which I think is the most depressing thing ever, especially since all it does is give you a kind of crap dagger. But, that being said, as a boss fight, she's mid. She's inoffensive. I've fought against other Soulsborne bosses at this point that are, like, better. And then there is a boss that has a very unfortunate name, in the name of Ceaseless Discharge. And if I was ranking these based on, like, the naming convention of the bosses, he'd definitely be in dog shit. But as an actual boss, he's just bad. I mean, if you fight him straight up after you nab like the gold trimmed robes or whatever I think they're called, like the Izalith witch robes, and then you can fight him kind of normally, where you just bait an attack, hide behind a wall, and then pop out and hit him in the, like, spider arm tentacle thing. Or you can just straight up cheese him by leading him back to the fog gate and doing a jumping attack on said tentacle arm, and he falls to his death. He's pathetic. With a very unfortunate name. But he's silly enough that I'm willing to just stick him in bad and not dog shit. Is that the first Asylum Demon, or is that the... Oh, that's the Demon Fire Sage. Okay. And I broke. Okay, Demon Fire Sage is... At the point that I fought him in Dark Souls 1, I was annoyed that they reused the same boss twice. And I'll confess, when I saw him, I literally stopped playing for the day because I was, like, annoyed that they used him again. He goes in dog shit. He goes in the dog shit territory because it's just the Asylum Demon again with more annoying attacks. Centipede Demon. Centipede Demon is mid. And I say this mostly because I always forget he exists. I have very little to say about him other than that. And then we have Bed of Chaos. This is not a boss. It's frustration. It's frustration with a health bar. Because the only thing about this fight that you actually do is you break 2 trees and then you destroy the buggo in the middle with 1 hit. That is not a boss. The only saving grace is that even though the hands of the tree monster thing are kind of annoying, if you just run past everything, you're not going to run into very much trouble. She's annoying, but whatever. Then we got the Moonlight Butterfly. Moonlight Butterfly is a bad fight. I'm sorry, it is. I don't want to wait for this thing to come down, and this thing is obnoxious. Oh, I'm ranking Soulsborne bosses right now. We've gone through all the Demon Souls ones. Now I'm just going through Dark Souls 1 and just explaining why they go where they go. And I'm ranking them. I'm ranking them solely on how I think of them as a boss fight. I just talked about Moonlight Butterfly. I don't have the patience for it. It's stupid. I don't want to wait for it to fly down. He dumb. Great Grey Wolf Sif is not an incredible fight. She's aight. But she's at the very top of aight. Just pure gut feeling, mostly, and just how I felt about it the first time I fought them. Some of them I'm ranking based on their difficulty, but only insofar as, like, how fun it is. how fun it was for me personally. It's just this is just pure subjective like word vomit, more or less. Four Kings. Four Kings is bad. um, I don't like I don't really like DPS races, and I don't like that I had to use a ring slot just to fight them. And I also don't like gank fights, so Four Kings is a bad fight, but it's not the most offensive thing I've ever run into. So they're just bad. They're bad and they should feel bad. Especially since they apparently are a worse version of Undead King Jar Eel. Let's see, Pinwheel. I think Pinwheel goes at the top of bad. Because Pinwheel is pathetic, but he's at least cute pathetic. And I mean, even when I was inexperienced with Soulsborne games, I was still able to flatten Pinwheel. He's sad, and he should feel sad. But he's not so terrible as to go all the way into dog shit territory. He's just pathetic. Gravelord Nito. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like Nito very much. He's not very Nito. I don't like the fact that he spawns in with a bunch of skeleton bros. I don't like the fact that he spawns, like... I don't like the fact that he has such a big AoE that almost like forces you to have to confront the Skelebros. Yeah, I'm not really that impressed with Nito. He has cool lore, but as a boss, he kind of sucks. Let's see. The Asylum Demon. Now, the Asylum Demon I'm putting right in the middle of mid. My reasoning for putting him right in the middle of mid is because he's the tutorial demon. There is nothing special about him. He's not hard. You just smack his big demon booty cheeks and he goes down super fast. Even in the beginning of the game, you get a free plunging attack off on him, so I ain't impressed. Not even a little. Alright. Now we've got the game's femboy, Dark Moon Gwendolyn. Or we got Dark Sun Gwendolyn, actually. Bad boss. Bad. Now, I call him a bad boss just because, one, I don't like killing the illusion of Guinevere. That makes me feel like crap. But then when I realized that I got catfished by a femboy, one, I had to reconcile the fact that I might have actually been into it, and second is because when you actually go down there to kill him, he keeps running away from you, spamming magic, spamming arrow shots. I have to play Toho in order to actually get to the guy, and I don't like it. I don't jive with that. That's not for me. So, he's bad, and he should feel bad. So he goes in the bad category. Then I was like... that's how I felt about Priscilla. Let's see. Seath the Scaleless. Dog shit. I dislike this boss on a lot of levels. Especially since I encountered this boss when I learned the quit out tactic of if you're about to die to a boss, if you want to just practice it, you just quit out of the game and it puts you outside the boss fog, like right as you're about to die. And to be perfectly honest with you, the first time I ran into him, I wasn't aware that you couldn't kill him, and you were supposed to lose so he can throw you in a jail cell, and then you fight him later in the level. And then when I found out about that, that just annoyed the shit out of me, so... For just sheer bad first experience, I was like, nah. Nah, see. You're not only scaleless, you're spineless too. Especially since I have to break your crystal. Sanctuary Guardian. I really like the Sanctuary Guardian. He's aight. Very bottom of aight, but he aight. I like how aggressive he is, and I like the design. It's a chimera of some description. Alright. Now we're going into the first boss that's actually going to make it to Incredible. Knight Artorias. I love this fight. Maybe I'm biased, but oh my god. When I first encountered Knight Artorias, I'd seen all the hype. I'd seen all of the lore about him. And when I got his greatsword, I was like, I felt like a god come to life. And then you get to fight him, and you realize you're only fighting an Artorias that's half strength. And not only is he half strength, he's abyss corrupted, so... Oh, God, when I fought him, he kicked my ass so hard, not gonna lie. He just stomped the shit out of me the first time I fought him, but... I loved every minute of it, man. It was just pure... It was just pure amazing fun for me to fight Artorias, to learn him, to finally overcome him. And then to be able to get like another version of his sword that was, oh god. Yes, indeed. Plus I get his armor. Oh god, excuse the yawn. Let me try that again. And then you get his armor. And his armor looks dope. So, that's the first boss that's going up in an Incredible. Because, he's awesome. Black Dragon Calamite. He's mid. Actually, no, that's perfect. Put him above Leechmonger. Reason why is because I don't like the setup that I have to have Hawkeye Goff ground him for me to kill him. And even if you figure out that you can kill him without Goff's help, it still feels contrived as hell, because you're obviously supposed to get Goff to do it for you. And then you fight him on the ground, and he has his, like, ear-piercing BS attack that I'm not a fan of. So but, I mean, he was alright as a dragon fight. They tried. Alright, Manus, Father of the Abyss, might be a hot take, but I'm putting him right at the top of aight. Bordering on Incredible, just because of how cool the setup is. And the fact that you're basically fighting the first, like, primal human who got real good at abyss sorcery that can also beat you to death with his catalyst. That was fun. I'm not gonna lie. I had a lot of fun fighting Manus, and I loved learning him. I loved every moment of me getting smashed into the floor. And I mean that without any sarcasm, by the way. I legit love that fight. Alright, let's see. Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, he's mid. I'm sorry. Gwyn's mid. Mr. Plin Pling Plon is... aight. When I got to his fight, I was expecting more. And I mean, it was emotional, sure. But my instinct at the time, especially since I love parrying things, was, can I parry him? And when I realized I could, it trivialized the fight so much. So he's mid, solely because I ruined the fight for myself. Chad unlocked Bite's kink, getting beat into the floor. I just really like a worthy opponent. If I think a boss is pathetic, I'm gonna say it. Gargoyle. Belfry Gargoyles, bad. I don't like gank fights. It's just that simple. And also they were I just really like floors. Let's see. Bell gargoyles. I don't like gank fights. I don't. They're bad and they should feel bad. But do I think they're. You know what? I'm not going to worry too much about placement. Capra Demon. Bad. Wait. No, I'm putting him in dog shit. He frustrated the hell out of me. Because I was like, yeah, this is clearly a fight that is meant to cheese a death out of you, and I don't like that. When I learned the firebomb trick, where you could just huck firebombs over the fog wall and just get rid of his dogs early, I'm like, you know what? We're doing that. We're doing that, and I have no shame over it. Because screw him. And then he becomes a basic enemy later, so... I'm very tempted... Actually, you know what? This is not a boss. Because he becomes a basic enemy later, and he has two basic enemies with him. He's just not a boss. To me. Gaping Dragon. Mid. Much like a lot of... Kind of like everything else that I know about Dark Souls 1, I always end up forgetting that he exists, and then I realize you can cut his tail for a great axe, and I'm like, it's alright. That's fine. Alright, Chaos Witch Quelaag. Oh wait, there's an ad going. You know what, I'll elaborate a little bit more on Gaping Dragon while I'm waiting for the ad to finish. Gaping Dragon is just... He's just a silly little guy. And if you don't kill the channeler up top, he can be annoying. He's not a terrible boss, but he's not exceptional either. He's just... He just exists. Yes, he gapes. He's the goatsy of dragons. I ruined the boss for myself. Alright. Chaos Witch Quelaag. Mid. She's not hard at all. She makes people hard, I guess, from the waist up. But I personally didn't have much trouble with her. She was fine. She gives you a cool curved sword that does chaos damage. Back when chaos damage was a thing, and then they just sort of relegated it to different fiery words, so I'd put her like right in the middle of mid, I guess. Iron Golem. Now, Iron Golem is a dude. And he's a dude that I'm not very impressed by. I don't really want to say he's mid, but he's he's painfully mid. So he's like right at the bottom of mid. Because I'm the kind of person who goes through the entirety of a like Souls level and kills everything. So all of the gimmicks that would have made him tough, like the giant throwing fire bombs or... Yeah. I never experienced that. And then when I realized that you could just knock him off off the edge of the map, that made him even more pathetic, so... Yeah, he's just mid. Sen's Funhouse was way harder than him, and... I ain't impressed. Ornstein and Smough, though. Maybe this is another hot take, but I really like this fight. I don't like it as much as Artorias, but there is something about walking into that room, realizing you're going to face a gank, but for some reason the gank works, because they actually made it so that... Alright, so they actually made it... They made a gank fight that I like, weirdly enough. Because they play off of each other, and Biggie and Smalls you can isolate one by one, either by targeting Smough first or targeting Ornstein first. Yeah, I've got nothing bad to say about Ornstein and Smough. I love this fight. Because there are so many ways you could approach that fight. And they made. Let's see. I'm going to allow that. Like, force. Oh, God. We'll get to them. Because I have some thoughts about those two. Um, but for Ornstein and Smough, yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about him. Just an incredible fight. Stray Demon. It's just an Asylum Demon again. So he goes in dog shit. Wait, no, get in the dog shit pile. Thank you. You have angry thoughts. Me too. Oh, believe me too. And with that, I think that's all of the Dark Souls 1 bosses covered. Now we're going into Dark Souls 2. And spoiler alert, there's going to be a lot of Dark Souls 2 bosses that I just... that I have some very angry opinions on. Skeleton Lords. Dog shit. Don't like ganks. Don't like the fact that they make it an even bigger gank when you kill a Skeleton Lord and they turn into more freaking skeletons. He sucks. They're not they're not even difficult. They're just there. They exist. And unfortunately, I'm reminded that they exist. Covetous Demon. He's a silly little guy, but... Wait, don't move the Four Kings up there. What are you doing? Ah, shit. I forgot where Four Kings is. I think they were in dog shit. But I don't remember where in dog shit they were. But Covetous Demon's just a silly little guy. He's fine. He's mid. Mytha the Baneful Queen. This is a bad boss. Because she's an easy boss that's carried by the fact that if you don't burn the windmill, which I don't know how many people figured that out the first time, but I didn't, so I fought her in a poison pool. She's a forgettable boss in an annoying arena where it leverages its own, like, gimmick to try and kill you, which I didn't appreciate. So she's bad. She should feel bad. Smelter Demon is boring. Thus, he is dog shit. I don't like either version of the Smelter Demon, to be perfectly honest with you, and I don't like his aura ability, so... He's in dog shit tier. The Iron King. He's bad. Bad because he's... He's bad because he's predictable, and because... I'm fully going to cop to the fact that not only is he easy... This is also... Dark Souls 2 is a game of adaptability. Which, if you don't know, is a stat that determines, like, how fast you do certain actions. And how quickly you do, like, the healing, like, Estus animation. And it determines your iframes when you dodge. So, he's not a hard fight. But when you have low adaptability, because you're doing a soul level 1 run, he can punch you into a hole. And that's obnoxious. It's very obnoxious. Scorpioness Najka. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot she existed, but she's basically Quelaag too, so she gets to sit next to Quelaag. Anything I had to say about Quelaag is basically for Najka. She's not hard at all. And she's not even really that good. Royal Rat Vanguard. This is not a boss. That's just a bunch of rats in a room. That doesn't count. Alright, Congregation. This is not a boss. You feel like Forgettable needs to be a tier? I thought about that, but that's basically the mid tier for me. Like, right at the bottom of mid. Or bad. Because there are some times where I just don't have anything to say about a boss just because I'm like, wow, I forgot you exist. Let's see, the Duke's Dear Freya. Middle of bad. right next to the armor spider. And the reason why is because I actually soft locked myself out of killing the boss the first time. Because if you hit the boss's head a certain amount of times, it just falls off. And you can get in a situation where you've knocked both the heads off, and now you can't kill it. Unfortunately, that's what happened to me the first time. So she's not even hard to fight, but just that first encounter with her just made me upset. Yeah, if you hit the heads a certain number of times in the original game, not in Scholar of the First Sin, I think they patched it out there, but you can knock the head of the Duke's Dear Freya off, and she has 2 heads that you can target. And you can get yourself in a situation where you soft lock yourself out of being able to kill the boss, and you have to quit out and re-enter. Otherwise, she, can't die. Because you can't damage her. Like I said, I think they fixed it in Scholar of the First Sin, but in the original Dark Souls 2, that was the most annoying shit on the planet. Let me just tell you. Because I was using dual-wielded straight swords, and I did that. And it was annoying. Let's see. Inferior Sif is a bad fight. Because it's just Poison Dog. And Poison Dog is already annoying on its own. The Last Giant. Bad fight. But mostly because he's sad and pathetic, so he's at the very top. I have very little else to say about this fight other than he's just pathetic. The Rotten. The Rotten is very mid. Because he's just a big dude with a cleaver, and he's easy to dodge. You can chop his arms off, and then he can't do anything. Is all I have to say about that. The Dragon Riders. Why Dark Souls 2? Why? That's all I'm going to say about that. The Looking Glass Knight. Right at the top of mid, cool idea, crap execution. And I don't like the fact that... I just don't like bosses that have impenetrable defense, and there are times where you'll go for an attack and your weapon will bounce off of his shield, which I find obnoxious, so... I mean, he's not bad on his own. If you play offline, then he summons a bunch of NPCs, which... Demon of Song. I'm not gonna lie, I almost called this boss Seaman of Dong. And that's just strictly because I watch too many Infa videos. And he calls this boss Seaman of Dong. So I almost called this boss Seaman of Dong. But Demon of Song is an interesting fight, but not great. She's aight. She's very bottom of aight. And then we have... Oh, that's Guardian Dragon. Guardian Dragon I'm putting at the bottom of bad just because I forgot this boss exists. Not gonna lie. Completely forgot it exists. Ancient Dragon. This is a bad fight, but for a completely different reason. 1, because he's so dang big. 2, because the game's hitboxes are terrible. And 3, because you have to actively start shit with this boss in order for it to start attacking you. You can go your whole playthrough without fighting him. And when you do fight him, he's bad. And he should feel bad. Alright, and then we have here... Velstadt. I think Velstadt's I8. He goes right above the Penetrator, in my opinion. He's Garl Vinland if Garl Vinland was actually a boss. He's a big dude with a big hammer, and you know what? sometimes that's all you need in life. I like that he mixes things up with dark magic too, so he's aight. Not great, but aight. Is that Nashandra or... Hang on. No, that's the That's Ilana, the Squalid Queen. Sorry, These are hard for me to read too, actually. Hang on. I might need to... There we go. Alright, Ilana, the Squalid Queen. I personally think she's dog shit. And my reasoning for that is very simple. I don't like that she could summon Velstad, which is like already a so we get a reused boss on top of a gank fight, on top of the fact that she summons skeletons, which obnoxious. And I already didn't like the Sunken King DLC. Had some good stuff in it, but is bad. You should feel bad. And then we have the gank squad. This is not a boss. It's just... this is not a boss. It's just 3 player models that they slapped into a room. Because... reasons. That are beyond me. And all I'm going to say is that I don't like those reasons. Alright. Sin the Slumbering Dragon. Maybe a hot take, but I really like this fight. Like, I really, really like this fight. It's a fun dragon fight. It's Poison Dragon, but there's something about the way that it's presented and the way that you fight Sin that just makes me happy. It feels like I'm actually fighting an epic dragon fight, so we're going to put him on Ait. The Pursuer. This is not a boss. He keeps showing up as an annoyance, and that's about it. He's like a mini-boss at best. Smelter Demon 2 goes exactly where the other Smelter Demon is, and you know what? Forgive my French, but fuck them both. I don't like either one. Now, Rame the Fume Knight, on the other hand, is one of the few bosses of 2 that I'm putting in Incredible. And the reason why is because, yes, he's a gimmick fight, where you have to do like the stupid statue thing, where you have to collect the means to disable like the statues that heal him in the boss arena. But when you do that, you get a fight that's aggressive, that has fun moves that he uses. And honestly, I just felt awesome fighting him. Like, he's like a worse Artorias. He's like a worse dual-wielding Artorias. And his armor's dope, too. Gives me Ring Wraith vibes sometimes. Sir Alone. Maybe another hot take, but he goes right up in Incredible 2. And the reason why... Bro is a samurai that knows how to do his dang job. He's awesome. He does have one janky hitbox grab, but I can forgive that just because of how frickin' awesome he is. I'm hiccuping now. God dang it. Hiccups aren't real. But yeah, Sir Alone is dope. He's super dope. And I love the Nagamaki as a weapon. It's so awesome. Ava the King's Pet. Mid. It's a big beast. It's a fight. It's fine, but I have no strong feelings about it. These two, however, I think are dog shit. The 2 other King's Pets are dog shit. And the reason why I say this is because, one, you have to go through Reindeer Fuckland first, just to reach them. And then, when you do reach them, you're faced with a gank fight that happens about halfway through beating up one of them. And you've already fought the first one, which was this kind of inoffensive, kind of boring beast fight. And now you have to just do 2 of them. Now there's just 2 of them. And I can't jive with that. I can't jive with just 2 of them. So, go into the dog shit tier. Let's see. The Burnt Ivory King. This was a cool fight. This was a really cool fight, actually. And Burnt Ivory King offers something very interesting if you actually play through the whole of the DLC in such a way that... Wait, where did he go? My mouse is acting weird too, so... Oh, where did I put him? Hold up, I gotta find him real quick and put him in his correct placement. Burnt Ivory King, where are you? Oh, there he is. He needs to go in Ite. There we go. Yeah, that's about right. But yeah, it's almost like a chess battle where you have to go around getting, like, freeing the white Elium Lois Knights, and then you go into battle and fight against him and burnt Elium Lois Knights. And you know what? It works, because if you free him, they actually block off the means for him to summon more. And you get this weird battle where it's a battle of attrition, where you have all these other knights fighting alongside you, and it feels dope. It's one of the few times that I think From Software did like a gimmick fight quite well. I'll put it that way. The only one that beats him out is the Fume Knight in terms of sheer awesomeness. The Giant Lord. The Giant Lord is very forgettable. Bordering on bad. I do like him more than the No, I like the last giant more. And I don't like how there's so much going on in his boss arena and you have a limited time to fight him. Not that that's much of an issue, but... Yeah, it feels like they've just stacked up a bunch of stuff to kill you before you even get to him while you're in the boss room. And I don't like it. I don't like him. He ain't good. Dark Lurker, though. Dark Lurker was a cool fight. Dark Lurker was a really cool fight, so he goes straight in the Ite category. He's no Manus, but he's close. He's very close. I really enjoyed the fact that you had to go delve the abyss to actually get to him, too. His mechanics are awesome, too. It does like the weird bullet hell... It does the weird bullet hell thing without it being annoying, so... King Vendrick. This is not a boss. He's sad and pathetic, and I don't like it. Yes, he technically has a health bar. Yes, you technically have to beat him down, but... This is not a boss to me. He's just sad. But the Throne Guardians... Bad fight. This is Ornstein and Smough, but worse. I'm sorry. They are. You know what? They go right next to the Dragon Riders. Because I also don't like that they can revive each other. I don't like that they can heal each other. They don't really play off of each other like Ornstein and Smough do. They just kind of do their own thing, and it turns the fight into this clusterfuck of nonsense. And I'm not about that. I'm really not about it. Single Dragon Rider, though, mid. Very mid. Painfully mid. Because you can either cheese him by making him walk off a ledge, or you can just kill him normally and he's not that hard. Yeah. Painfully mid. Nashandra, dog shit. I hate that she summons curse clouds. I hate that she's got these annoying combos. I don't like anything about Nashandra, to be perfectly real with you. She's obnoxious. About as obnoxious as Aldia, actually. because I don't like that you have to hit him at very specific times during the fight, and I don't like his moveset. He sucks. The old Dragon Slayer, however, is just very mid. In a game full of, like, dudes in armor, which, honestly, I think was kind of a dumb argument that some people made, because there was plenty of other varieties of fight, too. They just weren't very good. But old Dragon Rider, or old Dragon Slayer, I mean, he's just forgettable. He's Ornstein, but worse. And you know what? Yeah. Yeah. Ruin Sentinels, bad fight, don't like ganks. Simple as. Flexile Sentry, this is not a boss. He becomes a basic enemy later, and I don't like... He was fine, I guess. But I don't like the Rising Water gimmick. It was kind of stupid. Belfry Gargoyles, dog shit. Absolute dog shit. Because I don't like getting swarmed by gargoyles. They're the Bell Gargoyles, but worse. Lost Sinner. Hot take. I really like this fight. I don't like that you have to light up the arena to get a clearer lock on her, but that's not really even that much of a drawback, really. She goes, like, right next to Sif, I think. And I think she has a cool moveset that lets you duel effectively. Executioner's Chariot. Oh wait, Skeleton Lord, stop. Executioner's Chariot. You know what? Yeah, I was gonna stick it in dog shit anyway, so... This fight's stupid. If you know the cheese behind it where you could just shoot the charioteer and then let the horses fall off a cliff after you smack their hooves a few times, it trivializes the fight. Otherwise, it's just obnoxious. And you don't really even get anything that worthwhile from it, so... It's bad and it should feel bad. And I think after that, that's all of the Dark Souls 2 bosses. And all of the Dark Souls 2 bosses are either painfully mid or they're bad. But now we're moving into Bloodborne, which... Oh boy, I'm going to have a lot to say about this game because I love so many of these bosses. Dear God, I love most of them. Let's start with the one Reborn, though. The one Reborn is mid. It's Tower Knight, but worse. I don't have much to say about it other than you fight the ladies that are like making it do things, and yeah, he's Tower Knight, but worse. And then you have Celestial Emissary. Mid. I forget they exist sometimes. Actually, no, I would even hazard to say this is not a boss, because it's just a bunch of the little mushroom head alien guys that are nothing. However, Ebrietas... Oh, I love Ebrietas so much. Oh, look, we have a Banivator. Really now? To the Shadow Realm with you. Get out of here. You suck. I could put you on the tier list. Coral Giraffe guy, whatever your name is. I'd put you in the dog shit tier. You're not even worth it. But oh crap, where did I put Ebrietas now? Where did I put Ebrietas? Because she doesn't... She goes like right at the top of Ait tier because she's fun. She's super fun. I love her moveset. She does like the bullet hell thing, and she even manages to have like an annoying aura effect on her without being totally obnoxious. So I gotta say, I like her. I like Ebrietas. Amygdala. Very mid. He's inoffensively easy. And that's alright sometimes. Mikolash. I'm going to be brutally honest, I think he's in dog shit tier. Because he's barely even a boss fight, and he has a bunch of basic enemies, and he has a gimmick. So, I like none of that. He can go right in the dog shit tier. But Murgo's Wet Nurse. I like Murgo's Wet Nurse. She's aight. She goes like... Yeah, she goes like right there. I don't really like the fog... You know what? Even her like weird fog world gimmick where she duplicates herself and tries to hack you to pieces with a clone isn't even that bad. I like her. She's aight. She's a fun fight. Not something terribly difficult, but fun. Ooh, and then we have Ludwig the Accursed. I like Ludwig a lot. He doesn't go up into incredible territory. You know what? He actually does. He shoots past most of these guys and falls right. He falls just short of Artorias for me, to be perfectly honest with you. I love the setup. I love that he uses the Moonlight Greatsword. And seeing someone so esteemed within the Healing Church turn into this weird horse monster, I don't know. There's something cool. There's something really cool going on here, and I'm all for it. You know what? He goes there. He is, in fact, an incredible boss. I like him a lot. And my model broke. Hang on. Sorry, I had to also move down my... Wait, am I back? Yeah! Okay, let's keep going. Alright, let's see. Living Failures. The Living Failures are very mid. But they're a nice, like, breather boss, so I can't fault them too much. Lady Maria, though, we have our first very top of incredible. Holy shit. I love everything about Lady Maria. I love her moveset. I love the music. I love the fact that she kicks so much ass. I beat her my first try, but never have I ever felt so much fun fighting another hunter fight. And honestly, I consider her to be the perfect From Software boss so far. As of right now. My opinion might change if I reflect on other bosses later, but to my knowledge, I have yet to face a boss that I liked more than Lady Maria. So she goes right at the top of incredible. And then we have Lawrence, the First Vicar. He's dog shit, to be perfectly honest with you. He's just another cleric beast, and I didn't really like the first cleric beast that much. Cleric beast. Very bottom of mid. See my past statement. And it's really just because... For a first big beast fight, he wasn't that good. Orphan of Kos. Maybe this is a hot take, but I really like this fight. I really like this fight because it's aggressive, it's crazy, feels like I'm fighting some weird eldritch monstrosity, and I like that. Gehrman. No question, he goes right behind Artorias. He's not as good as Artorias, in my opinion, just to be clear. But oh my god, that fight was phenomenal. He isn't a hard boss either. I just really enjoyed... I really enjoyed the setup. I enjoyed his actual moveset. I have no complaints about Gehrman, other than his boss music makes me very sad and introspective. The Moon Presence is sort of like the weak link of that fight, but it's fine. It's inoffensive. It's aight. But we have Father Gascoigne. Father Gascoigne goes right at the top of mid. Mostly because I'll confess it mostly comes down to frustration. And that frustration comes down to the fact that when I was learning the dance of Bloodborne, I just could not pin down exactly when I needed to gun parry him. And then this was before I learned that pistols were actually better for that, so I was trying to parry him with a blunderbuss. And that was very frustrating. So, yeah. Bloodstarved Beast? Mid. Very mid. Very painfully mid. Vicar Amelia, kind of the same category of painfully mid, but... You know, she's interesting. She has a healing mechanic if you let her, but you can stop it, so... she's fine. Witches of Hemwick. This is not a boss. It's just 2 witch enemies and a bunch of, like, randos if you don't burn your insight. Same with the Shadows of Yharnam. It's a gank fight. That's not a boss fight. They become basic enemies later, and they're not that great. Martyr Logarius. Right at the top of aight. I love this fight. I like that he uses like sword summoning to like harass you, and you have to break the right sword in order to you have to break his sword in order to make him stop. Plus I love his aggression, and I love the fact that you can parry him sometimes. Dark Beast Parl, not gonna lie, I usually forget he exists, so bottom of mid. Rom the Vacuous Spider. I'm not really that... I don't have very many bad memories of this, except for when I tried to do my level 1, my Waste of Skin run. But, you know, he can go behind the mat. She can go right there. She's inoffensive. She's fine. She does what she's supposed to. And alright, I think that was for all of the... I think that was all of the Bloodborne bosses. You'll notice that you can clearly see my bias here about what I consider to be a good boss versus what I consider to be a really bad one. Alright. Time to move on to Dark Souls 3. And we're starting with Aldrich, the Devourer of Gods. What can I say about this? It's Gwendolyn again, but honestly, it's better Gwendolyn. So, I don't think Aldrich gets relegated to bad. I think he gets relegated to mid, though. Yeah, that makes sense to me. He's very mid. Yorm the Giant, dog shit. Don't like gimmick fights. He's stupidly easy, and made even easier if you take the Storm Ruler Sword. Made even easier if you have Onion Bro with you. Might be cool looking, might have cool lore. Do not like gimmick fights like that. And that's where we go to Dancer of the Boreal Valley. So far, very top of aight. Because I actually like her. She has a cool moveset. I like that she changes it up mid-fight. I like that she changes it up again right as she's about to die. Dancer of the Boreal Valley. Gotta love her. It's fun to fight with Onion Bro, but it's not boss. Yeah. I hesitate putting him in This Is Not a Boss, though. Because he's clearly a very unique enemy, but I don't like gimmick fights. I'm sorry, I don't. I like the lore behind him. I think the story with him and Onion Bro Siegward is sad, but he's kind of a shit fight. Let's see. Are we already going? Oh no, that's Osiros. I don't like Osiros. He's bad. He has janky hitbox, and I don't like the fact that he won't shut up during the fight. I feel like if he had anything to say, he should have said it in the cutscene before, so... Yeah, I don't like that he's wordy, and I don't like that he's got bad hitboxes. But then we have Champion Gundyr. The champion. Yeah, the crying baby is I agree. I think Champion Gundyr goes right after, like, right before Manus. Like, right there. He's a really fun fight. I love how aggressive he is. I love you can parry him. I love that he gets more aggressive as the fight goes on. Let's see, Dragon Slayer armor. Ornstein with a great axe. So he goes probably at the bottom of mid because I usually forget he exists, to be perfectly honest with you. I also don't really like that those big butterflies in the background just artillery strike you while you're trying to fight him. The Princess of Lothric, I don't like this fight. This is one of those fights where I'm very convinced that they just wanted to make something hard for the sake of being hard. Because the first fight is forgettable, and then as soon as Lothric joins in and starts magic spamming you while teleporting and all of that, nah. It's not for me. He sucks. Ancient Wyvern. This is not a boss. This is a plunging attack. He doesn't count. He can go right in this is not a boss territory. Nameless King, though. Very bottom of Incredible. I love the dragon fight setup. I love how aggressive he is in Phase 2. But he never felt unfair. And I desperately enjoy his weapon. Like, every playthrough I get, even if I never use it, I transpose his weapon. Because the sword spear is such a cool weapon. And the fact that he's basically proto-Ornstein is just even better to me. He never felt unfair to me, because there's a rhythm to how you're supposed to dodge him, and as long as you're not too far away, he doesn't have, like, that many moves that I would call unfair. That being said, we now have Soul of Cinder. Aw. I just play too many Soulsborne games is really what it is. I have Stockholm Syndrome with these games. Soul of Cinder is aight. He's Gwyn, but better. And honestly, I think he has a cool... okay. Soul of Cinder has a cool gimmick where he basically, like, emulates player fighting styles, but... yeah, he's just Gwyn, but better. I don't really have very many complaints about him other than he's... That's not even a complaint. Alright. Eudex Gundyr, mid. He's Gundyr, but he's Champion Gundyr, but worse. But he's also a tutorial boss. He's fine. He's perfectly mid. He does what he's supposed to. However, Champion Gravetender and his wolf, dog shit. And it's purely because this boss made me salty from the first time I fought him. One, because I was already annoyed that he's just a player model. And that's it. But then you have Big Dog coming in just to screw with you, and then you also have the smaller dogs in the boss arena, so... yeah, I don't like him. He's dog shit to me. And then we have Black Flame Frida. Now, this is going to probably be another hot take for all of the wrong reasons, but I'm just going with what my gut says. She's dog shit. I hate her so much. I derive no pleasure from the fight. I derive no pleasure from beating her. I don't even... oh, I don't like her. First thing I don't like about her is that she's basically... She's basically Lady Maria, but worse. This is a fight where I'm convinced where they just decided, you know what? We're going to try and fuck the player 3 ways to Sunday by making you fight 3 marathon bosses in a row. I do not find her moveset compelling. I don't find it fun. I don't think she's. I hate that she turns invisible at some points because it forces you to break lock. And for a boss like her, you have to be really cognizant about where she is in the room. And God, I hate her. I hate her so much. And she made me salty as hell, too, because you have the second phase, which is just an Estus sponge, where you're fighting a gank between Father Ariandel and her, to which I feel like I would have preferred to just fight Frida and then Black Flame Frida back to back, like a phase 1, phase 2 thing. But then they put Father Ariandel in the middle, and he can... Oh, God, I hate her. Because Father Ariandel is annoying on his own. And then you have Frida cheesing you with ranged attacks, and... Oh, God. Yeah, she made me salty as hell, and every time I have to go through Ashes of Ariandel, it's just so annoying. And I know people like this fight. I do not. I do not. I could go an entire playthrough of Dark Souls 3 without ever dealing with her. She sucks. Let's see, the Demon Prince. Her weapon is pretty dope. I just don't like the work to get it. Let's see, the Demon Prince, though. Bad. I'm not gonna lie. The Demon Prince fight is stupid. I don't like that you have to fight a gank first, and then you have to fight a demon based on whichever one you killed in the first phase. You do get Lap for help, but nah. Nah. Demon Prince sucks. I don't like him. I don't like him as... I don't have the same level of hatred for Demon Prince as I do Sister Frida, though, so he can go squarely in the bad category. Half-Light, this is not a boss, that's PvP. It's also very gimmicky PvP, so I don't like it. He's the old monk, but worse. Dark Eater Midir. I like Dark Eater Midir. I feel like this is where they really got the dragon fight down, so I feel very comfortable putting... Actually, no. Since there's Elden Ring bosses on here too, I have things to say about that, but... Wait. Yes, okay, we do have Elden Ring bosses here. Yeah, Dark Eater Midir was when they locked in on the dragon fight, and he has a cool boss weapon. The Frayed Blade is really, really cool. Let's see, Slave Knight Gale. No discussion. He goes right in Incredible. I think he goes behind Lawrence, or Ludwig, I mean. And I say this with all the love in my heart. I love him so much. He's a crazy fight, and I feel so awesome every time I beat him. I even like the run-up to the fight because it gives you this sense of desolation. You hate him? No, dude, he's awesome. He's like off-brand guts. Yeah, I love him because of his chaotic moveset. I love that you have to be really precise with your dodges. Nothing about that fight feels unfair to me, and I'd say the only annoying part maybe is probably the first phase, but even then, I like that he's kind of like this weird bestial dude crawling on all fours. How big the arena is? That's fair, I guess. I guess if he was in a small... But I feel like if he was in a smaller arena, that's when the fight would turn unfair. Because the second phase has him doing, like, lightning strikes and shit. So you do kind of need some extra space to dive around. Let's see. Vort of the Boreal... Vort of the Boreal Valley. Oh my god. He's mid. I like him better than the Asylum Demon, but he's just big dude with mace. He's aight. Curse Rotted Greatwood. Dog shit. I'm almost tempted... You know what? This isn't even really a boss. You just break stuff on the tree, and then there's a bunch of basic enemies in there. And then you fall down. This boss sucks ass. I don't like him. Yep, you hit him in the balls, and then he dies. Crystal Sage. I'm teetering between mid and bad. And my reasoning for this, by the way, is because I don't like spell spam when I'm not the one doing it. So, you know what, though? He's not that bad, and you can parry his rapier. I'll put him at the bottom of mid. But he could go either way for me. You also die when hitting the balls. I think I do, too. Deacons of the Deep. This is not a boss. It's a bunch of basic enemies stuffed in a room. They suck. The Undead Legion of Farron. Now, here's another hot take, but I really like this boss. The question is... I like it slightly less than Sif. Just because it's a gank fight, but... I love how they turn the gank fight on its head by having one of them be aggressive to everything in the room. So as long as you don't start shit with them... Yeah, but if I wanted to do that, I'd play Dynasty Warriors. I'm sorry, but... It is fun to slay a bunch of enemies at once, but... I don't... In a Soulsborne game, I don't like having a bunch of just dudes stuffed in a room. But I think Farron's Undead Legion does it right. Because at the first phase of the fight, there's 3 enemies, but one of those enemies is aggressive to everything in the room. So it balances itself out. Fair enough, Kite. Fair enough. Let's see. Old Demon King. He's ass. I don't like him. He's basically an asylum demon, but only marginally better. So he can go there. I don't like fighting demons in Soulsborne games. They suck. High Lord Wolnir. This is not a boss. It's a gimmick fight where you have to break Skelemon's bling. Pontiff Sullivan. I actually like this fight. And I like that you can parry him, and I like that in the second phase, he actually gets like a clone that telegraphs what his next move is going to be. Yeah, I like Pontiff Sullivan. He's dope. He also's got some good drip, too. Alright, that was all Dark Souls 3. And the absolute state of my tier list, oh my god. There's so many... I'm kind of shocked, actually, that there's 2 Dark Souls 2 bosses in the incredible category. But... I can't... Oh no, they have Sekiro bosses. We're moving into that next, actually. Because next we have Sekiro bosses, and then we have Elden Ring bosses. And it looks like they're all mostly just Remembrance, or... like bosses that drop Remembrance. So, to begin... looks like we have the monk lady. I forget her name. She was fine. She gets kind of annoying later on when you have to get 3 crits on her, but I don't feel anything about her really. She's alright. But the Divine Dragon fight, top of bad. It's a gimmick fight. I don't do gimmick fights, man. The set piece is cool, but Every time I have to every time I replay Sekiro and I have to do the Divine Dragon fight, I'm like, God damn it. I would very much rather watch this as a cutscene. Let's see, what do we have here? That's Owl Father. Okay. I really like Owl. Especially if it's the DLC version of him. Cause they don't have a name for these ones up here for the Sekiro bosses, so I'm just gonna go off of my general experience with this fight and say this is the remembrance fight from the DLC where they make him have a crazy moveset. And oh dear God, you can definitely see why he was like head shinobi. God damn, he's awesome. That looks like Demon of Hatred, and he goes right at the bottom of dog shit. Sekiro is not made for big monster fights, and every time I fight against him, I don't feel like I've learned the fight. I don't feel like I've even surmounted a good challenge. I just feel like I got lucky. And yeah, the sculptor's story is sad, but Sekiro does not lend well to big beast fights, and yeah, it's dog shit. But now we have Ishin the Sword Saint, and he goes right up to incredible because, dear God, I love this fight. He is everything that the game is supposed to be about deflections and about learning how to fight well. And the dude has a dang gun that could pressure you if you're not careful. Dude's a badass. I love him so much. Alright, let's see. What else we got here? Oh, that's Genichiro. Yeah, the Sword Saint. Okay, so that's Genichiro. Genichiro is okay. He's alright. I like his combo potential. I like that he can mix up with his bow. And when he whips out the lightning, he's pretty dope. I don't have much to say about him other than he's kind of cool. I think that's Inner Owl, so everything I said about Owl Father, I say the same about Inner Owl. Okay, is that the Sword Saint? Who's this? I wish they put names on this. I'm just going to assume that this is another Ishin, but because I can't really discern which Ishin it is, I'm putting him here. Everything I said about Ishin applies, though. And then we have Kyobu Masataka Oniwa. Sorry, you have to say it that way. He's mid. I love his intro, though. You know what? I'm putting him in I because I like his fighting spirit. Oh, Lady Butterfly. Hold up. Now here's a weird take. I'm putting her in Incredible. Just above Sir Alon. And the reason why, she has such a fun moveset, and she's so tricky. And given how Sekiro is built as a game, everything she does just lends well to a fun fight, so I like her even more than Owl, actually. So Lady Butterfly gets up there. There's another Genichiro. He goes right next to the other Genichiro because that's all I have to say about that. Everything that I had to say about regular Genichiro applies to all the other Genichiros. Folding screen monkeys. This is not a boss. It's a gimmick. And I don't like gimmicks. They had a very interesting take with having the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil monkeys, and then the hidden one. But god dang it, once you know what the gimmick is and how to fight them, it's not anything. It's a nothing burger. Yeah, it's a nothing burger. Alright. Next is the two apes. and I think they're right. Nothing special. I don't like them more than Genichiro, so I'll put him after. I'll put him after Sullivan, because the apes and the headless ape have a fun moveset. They're just nothing really to write home about, but they're cool. I got a little bit of a jump scare when one of them got back up after his head got cut off. Alright, let's see. The Ghost Monk. Again, anything that applies to the first one applies to the second one, except I like that you can actually stagger this one to death if you position yourself right and use shinobi tools. I think that's funny. Let's see, what is that? Oh, that's another owl. Okay. Well, anything that I said about all the other owls applies to this owl. And then we have Ishin. Not the Sword Saint version, but regular Ishin. And you know what? He's aight. He's fun. I like him. I actually like him about as much as I like Gundyr, so we'll put him there. Here is where everyone in Sekiro stands so far. Ishin the Sword Saint and Lady Butterfly just have it on lock. What is it with From Software and making badass old people? It's like the old folks home for, like, the A-Team. It's awesome. And you know what? I'm here for it. Alright. Now for the one game that I have probably the most knowledge of just because of recency bias. We're going to talk about Elden Ring bosses now. And my takes on this might be very interesting. Who knows? Maybe I'm just hyping myself up and how much people care about my opinion, but you know what? Let's just go. Starting with Star Scourge Radahn. Oh wait, they don't have the DLC bosses in here. Oh well, that's fine. We don't need to put them on there just yet. We'll just go with base game. Now, Star Scourge Radahn. He goes right up into incredible. Honestly, like right next to Artorias in my heart. And I have a little bit of a bias here for this because I did beat him before he got patched. And when they did patch him, I was upset. I was legit like, look at how they massacred my boy. And I love how aggressive he is. I love that he can meteor attack you. I love that he uses gravity magic. I love everything about Radahn. My boy is dope. I love this fight so much. And I'm so upset that they did him dirty and made it and like weakened him. But maybe that's just my hot take on the subject, because I beat him with no summons and before the patch, so I earned my lion main. My red main. Mimic tier. This is not a boss. It's a gimmick. And you can make the fight even easier if you just strip naked and put on Datakar's Woe to make it take more damage. Gives you a good summon, though. Alright, Regal okay, so the 2 Ancestor Spirits I'm going to just do right away. And I think they're kind of bad. Not because they're easy, even though they are. It's just that they're so forgettable, and I never go out of my... And I don't like the steps you have to take to get into the boss arena with them. They have a cool gimmick where they mimic, like, overworld animals for their moveset, but I don't think that's enough to really justify my thoughts on them. So they go there. They're bad. Valiant Gargoyles. Dog shit. This was a fight that they clearly put in the game to be like, we want this game to be hard, so we're going to stick 2 of these idiots in the room. And you now have to deal with them. Have fun. Well, guess what? I did not have fun. I thought they were dog shit. Alright. Morgott and... Yeah, the two forms of Morgott. Morgott and Margit. I think Morgott is aight. Yeah, he's aight. He's not better than Genichiro. He goes just above Orphan of Kos, in my opinion. He's got cool weapon summoning abilities, and he's got some cool like attack patterns, but he's nothing to write home about. Margit, he's mid, just a worse Morgott. He's fine. He's the boss that's supposed to teach you to boss correctly. All right, so both of the Moogs. The one that you find in the sewers is bad because he's just weak. But, and here's where the hot take comes in. Moog Lord of Blood is dog shit. He goes right at the bottom of dog shit. I despise this boss. It frustrates me every time I fight him because it may be a skill issue. Hello, welcome in. Good to see you, LMA 78. Back to my unending hatred of Moog, the Lord of Blood. He has a crap moveset. I don't like Blood Flame because it's a gimmicky status that just shaves your health off if you're not careful. I don't like that you need a Wondrous Physic in order to prevent his Nihil ability. And I hate that he gatekeeps the DLC. Like, I already didn't like him as a boss. I like him even less where to access some of the best Elden Ring content, I have to go through him. So it's just a chore that I hate doing whenever I play Elden Ring. So Moog, Lord of Blood, goes into dog shit territory. Ghost Godfrey? He's mid. I have no strong feelings about this fight. It's fine. He gives you a talisman pouch. Godskin Noble? Bad. I don't like this fight. I don't like that he can roly-poly over you and absolutely wreck your shit without you even doing anything. And then we have the we have the Marae's Briar guy. I'm not gonna lie, I don't consider him a boss. Yes, you fight him in later on, and you can fight him where all the merchants are, but he's forgettable, and I don't care about him. I have no strong feelings about the bell-bearing hunter and the fact that he's a Marae execution, or he stole a Marae executioner sword. Rykard. Of all the Storm Ruler-esque fights, I think he's the best. I still think he's bad in terms of a boss, because I hate gimmick fights. So he goes right behind the Divine Dragon in the bad category. And that's where he will stay. Let's see, Estelle. I have no strong feelings towards Estelle. He's very mid. Goes right next to Amygdala. Amygdala, am I right? Not really. I'm sorry. Let's see. Commander O'Neill, dog shit. Not as much dog shit as Moog, though. I think I prefer him over Mikolash. I don't like that he spirit summons. I don't like that he spirit summons and that half of his attacks are AoEs. So he's dog shit. Let's see. Fire Giant. Maybe a weird take, but I think he's aight. He's a fun big dude. And I think that they did the giant enemy well with him. So he will go straight into aight. I don't really like that you have to break his foot first, and then later on he spams a bunch of like fire magic, but Now the moment we've been waiting for. Godskin Duo. I don't think there's any debate on where I think they go. Incredible, not really. They go straight into dog shit territory. But the real question is not that they belong in dog shit, because they do. It's whether or not I hate fighting them more than I hate fighting everything else in dog shit tier. And the reality of that is, I only slightly prefer the Valiant Gargoyles over the Godskin duo. I don't like that it's a fight, or I don't like that it's a gank. I already don't like Godskin fights. The Noble is one of the worst things I've fought against in Elden Ring. And I don't like their Black Flame abilities. They're just obnoxious. So, yeah, Godskin Duo goes squarely into the dog shit tier. Malekith the Blackblade. He's bad. I don't like the Death Furry, I'm sorry. The Death Furry can just go squarely into the bad tier. He has some cool armor, but I don't like Destined Death as an effect. In fact, there's a rant that I went on once, which I'm not going to get into here because it's already starting to get kind of late and I should go to bed. But I don't like that most of the status effects in Soulsborne games just amount to, here's a dot effect. Here's damage over time. It's just a variance in how quickly it affects you. And Destined Death does no favors by just being obnoxious. Other than that, let's see. Is that Lich Dragon Fortisax right there? Looks like it, so that's how I'm going to treat it. I really wish they'd label these. But Lich Dragon Fortisax, I think is bad. And the reason is because he's a big dragon that has, like, weird homing red lightning and does Death Blight. And since Death Blight is an instant kill, I do not like Death Blight. So, the Lich Dragon goes squarely into the bad tier. And I only slightly prefer him over Mohg. So, there you go. Dragonlord Placidusax is mid. Because I have very strong feelings going both ways, towards the good and the bad. Because on the one hand, I feel awesome every time I fight him. He's got an interesting moveset, and I like the stuff you get from him. I do not like the run back, and I don't like how he can just one-shot you with his, like, desperation move. I'm not really a fan of that. And you have to kind of build around it, so there's as much I like about him as much as I hate, so he goes squarely into the mid category for not ambivalence on my part, but because there's a lot I like and a lot I don't like. Loretta. Here's a hot take. I don't consider her a boss. She's basically an upgraded tree sentinel, and I don't think they're that fun. And then we have Godfrey. You know what? Godfrey goes almost squarely right next to the Dancer, the Boreal Valley, in the Ite category. And I say this because he has a cool moveset, and I like how... I don't know. This is the boss where I feel like the most love went into it. Because of how just weird and grotesque and fun the fight is. So I gotta give Godric his due. He's fun. I like him. Malenia. Okay. At first, I despised Malenia. But the more I fought her, the more she's kind of grown on me. The only thing that I hate about her is that she does Scarlet Rot, and to me Scarlet Rot is one of the biggest pieces of bullshit in the whole game. Therefore, she goes squarely in the mid category. Right next to the Dragonlord. Because, same reason, there's a lot I love and a lot I don't. I do not like that she heals off of you, and I don't like that she does Scarlet Rot. But good lord, if you fight her well, it's the most satisfying thing on the planet. So I gotta go with it. LMA is doing a king emote. Sorry I didn't reply to that earlier. And Horalu Warrior. I love this fight. He's a goat. Goes right next to the Nameless King, in my opinion. Slugging it out with this big beefy boy is so fun. And I like, it's the one of the few times where I'm okay with a two-phase fight, because the first phase is fun too. Alright, let's see. Radagon. I gotta give my props to my boy Radagon. He is a fun fight. I love his holy magic attacks, and I love that he's basically Divine Thor. I might be biased, but you know what? God dang it, he's fun. I thoroughly enjoy Radagon. Elden Beast, on the other hand, dog shit. But I prefer him over Mohg. I prefer him over Godskins. I prefer him over the Valiant Gargoyles. You know what? I think Elden Beast actually goes on a scale of the things that annoy me right in the middle. And if I consider just the base game of Elden Ring, that's when he gets really stupid too, because if I'm being perfectly honest with you, the Elden Beast is just obnoxious to chase on foot. They made it better by letting you ride Torrent, but since I'm considering only the base game, since the DLC bosses aren't on here, I just do not enjoy fighting it. Chasing after him on foot is the most obnoxious thing in the game, short of fighting Mohg. So he goes right in the middle of dog shit, but yeah. Misbegotten Leonin is not a boss. Enough said. I think this is supposed to be Fia's Guardians or something. What is this supposed to be? I'm just going to put it in this is not a boss for right now, because if that is Fia's Guardians, then I don't like them. Red Wolf of Radagon. This is not a boss. It becomes a mini-boss and a field boss later. Renala, Queen of the Full Moon, is bad. Because I don't like gimmick fights, and I don't like gank fights. This is both. But it's probably the least offensive of the bunch, but is also probably the most forgettable as well. Magma Worm Makar. This is not a boss. Becomes a field boss later, and honestly, it gets reused quite a bit, so I'm not even qualifying it as a boss, really. And then for the last one, we made it, guys. We made it. To the end of the Elden Ring tier list. Where does the Dragonkin Soldier get put? Squarely at the bottom of mid. Because I always forget they exist. Alright, well, here in the tier list. Please note that okay, no, I'm not going to steal that. But just remember that everything that I've said here is just purely subjective, and this was by no means like an unbiased take on any of these. This is just purely like what my heart told me. And what my heart tells me is that all the best fights are the ones that are fair, the ones that work well mechanically, the ones that are like the gimmick perfected, or just have something about them that charms me in a really real way. And the worst ones are ones that are either not a boss at all, so I don't qualify them for the list, or they're just infuriating, forgettable, or obnoxious in some way. Which I think is kind of a shame. But, you know, here in the tier list. And now that we've gone through the tier list, let's share it on Twitter. I wonder if it'll save it exactly as I saved it. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out later. Alright. Oh, hey, look, it does save it the way that I made it. And just letting you know, I just modified one that someone else made. So, credit where credit is due to Lurk Jello for making the original one that I, like, doctored a little bit. And, yeah. I think that'll pretty much do us for tonight. Oh my god, we've been going for 2 hours. Maybe I'll do more tier lists at some point, but I really wanted to talk about Elden Ring and Soulsborne as a whole, so I'll do a quick No, I don't want to do a quick recap on all of this because it'll take way too long. But if you want to see how I made this tier list, I just posted it to my Twitter, as you saw. But I think that's going to do us for tonight. So, thank you all so much for watching. If you like what I do, check out my Twitter, X, whatever it's called this week. I have a YouTube where I put all my VODs, and I'm also working on some content, some other content on the side. I need to fill some time to get myself a new PS5 controller, but other than that, my name has been Bite the Robot. Thank y'all for so much for joining. And I'll catch y'all probably tomorrow. Or today, rather. Right after I get up, when I get off work. Or something. Good God. Alright. Take care, everybody. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do, and maybe share your thoughts about what you think of, like, some of the bosses that I placed. And where you'd put them. But other than that, catch y'all later. Peace out.